Hey lovely people, welcome back. So this video is the last of our Necron Wraiths. Let's go to that on the floor. Right, we'll have a look at the plastic in a sec. Here's the magazine. Let's dive straight in. So we've got Blood Angels versus Tyranids here, which is quite a classic thing for Warhammer 40k. So it says your third Canoptic Wraith, full build and paint guides, and Necron Warlord traits. Kajalma's Skull Battle Zone, a dead world. So this goes in your black section. C, Theatre of War 06, Grand Bastion of the Zarakan. The Irradiated Wastes, world lost to time beneath the crust of Kajalma's skull like unseen terrors. This uninhabited planet was once the tomb world of a minor Necron dynasty. Geological disaster destroyed the slumbering Necrons but left their structures intact, ready to be reactivated by the Zarakan dynasty. Imperial offensive, with conflict raging on the inhabited moons of Gilantha. It took some time for the Imperium to note the Necron presence on Kajalma's skull. The discovery of Xenos architecture upon the planet has disturbed Imperial High Command. All available forces in the Ramses system have been dispatched to drive the Necrons back and destroy their base of operations. So, battle record. Kajalma's skull, crisscrossed by mountains, soaring plateaus, and barren dust wastes. The Imperial advances split across dozens of sectors, each of which has been codified by Imperial High Command. So you've got the opportunity to create your own random sector names. And we've got some sector battle maps here. So. Right, and then we're into war zones. Red B14, Third Tyrannic War. Only years after the defeat of High Fleet Kraken at Ikar 4, High Fleet Leviathan I should say, entered the galaxy. The largest and most widespread High Fleet to date, Leviathan seemed to have learned from the fates of Behemoth and Kraken. Its swarms continue to pose a deadly threat to galactic life. So it says here that High Fleet Leviathan entered the galaxy from two distinct points, its tendrils enveloping thousands of worlds and striking as far as Baal, chapter planet of the Blood Angels. And there's brief info on the battle for Baal. In Heroes 02 for Necrons, red section, Trazyn the Infinite. And this is Archaeovist of the Solmonance Galleries. Trazyn the Infinite's duty is one of preservation in the war-torn galaxy of the 41st millennium. However, such a noble pursuit requires devious cunning and flair for violence. Trazyn possesses both qualities in abundance. So some info there. We have Imhotep, the Storm Lord. When he awoke from the great sleep, Imhotep was not the pharaoh of the Sutek dynasty, or Saltek, depending on how you want to say it. However, compelled by his desire to reclaim the glorious Necron Empire of old, he has taken upon himself that mantle and borne it with confidence and skill ever since. We have a short story here, which is called Supreme Command. It looks like it's Eldari and Necrons. And then we come into the how to build our Canoptic Wraith. So there you go. So you've got your options. You can obviously have your stabby bits, or you can have the whippy bits. Take your pick. Then we have into our paint section. And that's your finished article. And then Necrons, rules, warlord traits to go in your factions section for Necrons. So you've got Enduring Will, Thrall of the Silent King, Implacable Conqueror, and Honourable Combatant. And then you just have a little tutorial on the back how it works. Front lines, C Veteran 09. So the battles rage across multiple regions of Kajalma's Skull as Imperial forces slowly grind their way through phalanx after phalanx of obstinate Necron warriors. The Necrons and Imperial forces each seek to seize territory from the opponents and destroy defensive positions and ammunition supplies, denying their foes the material required to fight a protracted war. Both armies meet in the blasted no man's land that splits the front lines. Necrons, make them bleed. Until now, the Necrons' royal courts have committed only enough of their strength to delay the Imperium's advance. However, with humans' hasty attacks gathering in intensity, their overlords have ordered an offensive. The humans must be scoured from their trenches and foxholes. Advance and secure. The balance of power on Kajalma's Skull is on a knife's edge. Imperial forces have made some ground and have breached the Necron tomb complex. Yet High Command requires more. This new offensive must result in the seizure and obliteration of Necron fortifications across Kajalma's Skull's front line. So we're using all 4 of our battle mats again on the pale grey side in a quad formation. Mission briefing, both armies clash along a wide front, seeking to break through and asunder fortifications, ammunition dumps and other vital supply lines. So we've got 6 objective markers out there by the look of it. And the two deployment areas are 10 inches from the long battle edge. And we're looking at a 75 power each side. So, okay, cool. And then we've got Marneus Calgar and his Victrix Guard coming in the next 2 issues. Right, let's have a look at the plastic. Really quick look, because you said it before. Let's bring you down. There we go. Right. So here's the plastic. I don't know if I've had this one. I think I might have already had this one. I think I got this one by mistake as the first Tomb Blade. Maybe not. Maybe not. It's just the tail. The tail looks a bit similar, so maybe not. Right. Okay. But yeah, it's obviously modular. You're going to build up the carapace in modular parts and then glue on the legs, you know, and the tail is separate. But yeah, it's a... I can't remember what I said the sculpt was. What date the sculpt was. Sorry. It'll be in one of the other videos, honest. And you get a 50mm base. So there you go, that's the plastic. Right, so in the next bit of the video, we'll finish painting our wraiths. Hey, lovely people. Right, so this is our Tomb Blade that we painted up to a battle ready standard. I haven't yet sanded the base. I will do that, and obviously then we'll just quickly go through the basing material. But what I am going to do is I'm going to start off in much the same way as I started off with the Tomb Blade, by just working on edge highlighting the black, and again that's going to be green. I'm going to be using Caliban green, then Warpstone Glow, then Moot green to highlight it up. Now this is something, it's just going to have to be a methodical work round, because there's a lot of stuff here that you're going to require painting. Like, for example, you've got the face here, so doing the edge highlights around this, and I'm gonna use a reasonably thick, large brush initially, and then switch to a slightly thinner brush to do the other two highlights. But this is essentially all I'm going to do all the way around on black parts to give the effect that I want for my Necron Force. So literally this is probably going to take the longest time, this highlighting session, but you need to just be methodical and you'll get there. So I'm now going to come in with Warpstone Glow for the first successive highlight. I'm going to be using a thinner brush for this, better detail and control. I am using a wet palette for my paints on this occasion. Quite often I'll use a plastic palette if I'm just painting, doing a heavy single coat, and like for example if I'm painting Dark Angels, it will just go straight into a plastic paint palette. Right, so starting off, this will be my first green highlight that will just go into areas and go over the Caliban green that I've done. So again, we've got all of this like black to highlight up, so I'll crack on with that. Right, here we go. So we are gradually getting there with the green. I'm now going to come in with Moot Green as a final highlight, so this bright bad boy, as a final highlight. Use it reasonably sparingly to on the mini. Right, let's put that, clean the brush out. And here we go. So again, but this time I'm just going to, like, on the extreme corners, so that the green is graduated in the highlight. Like so, and again it's a case of working round, doing all of the black green now as it is, and just doing it methodically so that you don't miss a bit. Okay, I've done all the highlighting I want to do. what I'm going to do now is come in and, again, similar to what I did with the Tomb Blades, I'm going to use Biltang Green, which is a shade, to just provide an edge and a bit of gradation around the edges of things like the eyes. And also in amongst the power nodes here, so it will just flow it into the recesses, basically, just to add a little bit of definition and just to tidy it up a little bit. And basically anywhere where I've got a bright green nodule is going to get a bit Biltang green around the edge. So come back, again, do it methodically, and it'll all be good. I am coming in now with a little bit of moot green, just to add a little bit of tidying up around certain things. So just coming in with the moot green here, just to perhaps tidy up the glow effect here, so that there's not too much dark green. Okay, and I'll do that. I'll come round and just do all the nodes, tidy up little bits where I might have got some darker green on them by mistake, and just take those out. So yeah, come back momentarily. I'm now going to come in and highlight all the metal, and I'm just going to use Runefang Steel for that. That's my current go-to metallic highlight. I'm going to use this on both the dark grey silver metal as well as the bronze. So on the darker, so on these front claws, I'm literally just going to edge highlight all of this like so, just running the brush at kind of like a 45-degree angle along raised lines, and as you just saw there, if it goes on a bit too thick, I just remove it with my finger. And again, this is going to be a laborious task, but it is just do it methodically and go round. And obviously on all the brass as well, again, just, you know, at a slight angle. And this is the only edge highlight I'm going to do on the metallics. So, and then obviously the carapace. We'll just get a highlight like so. Okay, come back in a bit. Coming in, I'm just going to do a little bit of highlighting on the power nodules, and all I've done is where I put some Tesseract Glow on the wet palette, I've then just added in the White Scar paint, and all I'm going to do is just come in, centre of the glow, and I'm just going to dab a pattern on this, like that. So really the only thing I've got left to do is just finish with the base, and all I did with the base was I've just PVA glued it, sand, waited for that to dry, and then I have put a couple of coats of Mornfang Brown over it to just help seal it in. My go-to recipe for my there we go, for my bases, and all my bases just get the same, is to go in with some Zandri dust. There's the first dry brush. And this is quite a heavy dry brush. I'm not too fussed if I get a little bit over the base of the model, because you know that'd just be a little bit of weathering. You'd expect to see some dirt on it. And then a little bit of Wraithbone is my next colour, and I don't worry about cleaning the brush between the layers. And then all that remains is for me to just paint the rim black, and then once all that's dry, I will then pop some grass on. So come back in a sec. The only thing I will say actually is that the gun, which I kept separate for ease of painting, has been painted in exactly the same way. So the gun, as you can see, I've actually magnetised it. I do go through that in the build video. So you can see the gun, and then it's just been painted the same way with highlighting up. Right, that's it. I'm calling the Wraith finished. So the only thing I've done additionally, apart from adding some static grass clumps, is I have given it a spray with a matte varnish from Army Painter, just to dull down, because it was very shiny. Hopefully you'll be able to tell the difference, but it was very shiny after the XxX shade wash, and as you can see, the weapon is swappable. So there you go. Right. We'll see you in the next video.